Harry Potter's over. Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2, the epic conclusion to the Harry Potter franchise. Now, the Deathly Hallows Part 2, I'm not going to lie guys, is at the time, back in 2011, was my most anticipated film of all time. After the epic cliffhanger of Part 1, I could not wait a second longer for this movie. I had to see it, and thankfully, with the help of a brilliant onslaught of trailers, TV spots and posters taglined with one theme, it all ends. And yes, this movie is probably one of the greatest, biggest summer blockbusters of all time. It broke over $1.3 billion at the box office, and everyone loved it. It was even one of the best reviewed films of the year, let alone the best reviewed Harry Potter film. But dude, I love it. Dude, I think it lived up to near impossible expectations. Did it end the Harry Potter franchise out with a bang, as it promised? Yes, abso-fucking-lutely it did. Deathly Hallows Part 2, I can gladly say, is not only by far the best Harry Potter film, it may have not just the best movie of the year it came out, 2011, but may as well be one of the greatest films of all time. So the Deathly Hallows Part 2, of course, continues immediately where Part 1 left off. Dobby died, Voldemort has the Elder Wand, and Harry, Ron and Hermione have destroyed one of Voldemort's Horcruxes, but they now must return to Hogwarts to destroy Voldemort's final remaining Horcruxes to bring his reign of terror to an end once and for all, where the Voldemort's army attacks Hogwarts, Harry's army rallies to protect him, and the final battle begins. And right from the start, you know this movie's going to be a masterpiece. It is the best Harry Potter opening of them all. We see Snape as he's now headmaster of Hogwarts. He's looking down on the students who are being escorted inside by the Death Eaters and Dementors. The music is epic. The music is so powerful. Just the atmosphere is beautiful. Oh, it's the definition of epic. If the rest of the film is as good as this opening scene, I thought to myself, this is going to be a great film. For now, the trio are hanging out at Shell Cottage with Griphook the Goblin and Mr. Ollivander, who's identified their wands as the former ones of Draco and Bellatrix, and they make a deal with Griphook to break into Gringotts, into Bellatrix Lestrange's vault, as they heard her in Malfoy Manor saying that the Sword of Gryffindor was supposed to be in her vault at Gringotts. And at first the plan goes brilliantly. I mean, the trio Hermione disguises herself as Bellatrix, Ron disguises himself as a random Death Eater, and Harry and Griphook hide under the cloak, and they successfully get down into the vault, get the Horcrux, but Griphook wants the Sword of Gryffindor in return, and the little bastard, he betrays them and just leaves them down there and takes the sword for himself. And the trio then escape on this dragon, and who breaks out of Gringotts and flies out of London. And it's an awesome start to this movie. It throws you right into the action. Right from the start, you know this is going to be a much better action film than Part 1 ever was. This is going to make up for those slow camping scenes in Part 1. And as the trio gets off the dragons, sadly, although Harry has discovered another of the Horcruxes, Rowena Ravenclaw's diadem is at Hogwarts. Sadly, Voldemort has finally discovered that Harry knows about the Horcruxes, and boy is he pissed. He flat out murders almost all of the Death Eaters in the room, including Griphook, and he he knows he has to destroy Harry soon before Harry destroys him. He deploys all of his forces to Hogwarts and he will show no mercy. Yeah, that's one great thing about this film. It actually shows the vulnerable side of Voldemort for the first time. He realises actually Harry is now a formidable threat and a threat enough to challenge him, and this makes him more dangerous than ever. Not to mention, this is the film where Ralph Fiennes gets the most screen time of Voldemort, and he plays the role so perfect. So then the trio make their way to Hogsmeade, which is just guarded by hordes of Death Eaters, until thankfully they're saved by Dumbledore's brother Aberforth, who the makeup for this guy is outstanding. They made him look so much like Michael Gambon while adding a few subtle differences. Daniel Radcliffe said he thought that was the best makeup in all the films, and I can gladly agree with him. And Aberforth's like, just go home, guys. You're not going to beat Voldemort. You're never going to win this. But Harry's like, no, we need to get into the castle tonight and face him once and for all. To which Aberforth reluctantly agrees. He tells Ariana, his sister in the painting, to fetch Neville, and Matt Lewis is absolutely phenomenal in this film. This is Neville's movie. In the previous movies, Neville was kind of just, well, the kid who never could do anything right, but in the Order of the Phoenix we saw hints of his bravery, but in this movie we full on get his bravery. He wields the sword of Gryffindor, and spoiler alert, he has a major character moment later on. But props to Matt Lewis anyway. So the trio get back into Hogwarts. They meet up with all of Harry's friends. They applaud him when he returns. Then Harry then enters the Great Hall and he challenges Snape, demanding he tell everyone that he killed Dumbledore. Yeah, Daniel Radcliffe gets some proper action hero dialogue in this scene, and then McGonagall's also amazingly bad on this in this film. She takes on Snape. Snape retreats, and Voldemort orders the entire cast in a very sinister voice that will creep you out. So he's like, "Give me Harry Potter, and none shall be harmed. You have 1 hour." So McGonagall then prepares the castle for the big final battle. She summons the statues to life. She casts the Mother of all Shields to protect the school. I'm like, wow, holy fucking shit, this is awesome. Now, then Voldemort arrives with his big ass army of Death Eaters, 100,000 strong, and you're like, so the good guys, just get the fuck out of here. You don't stand a chance. And when Voldemort just obliterates the shield, shit has gotten real. And now, guys, the battle in the book was very underwhelming and anticlimactic, and the battle in the movie, however, is 10 times better. They actually show the battle rather than tell you it. We see giants taking out statues, we see explosions, we see Kingsley paralyze this Death Eater and chuck it out of the window. I'm like, can we please see more of that? That's freaking cool. But there's also, it's not just spectacular visually, there's plenty of substance to the Battle of Hogwarts too. At the end, where in the aftermath, where we actually see the casualties of the battle, like Fred and George, Tonks and Lupin have been killed, you're devastated, because you've known these characters throughout all 8 movies, and to see them, and it's so sad to see them go. And they were innocent. They didn't deserve that fate. Yeah, this movie has the most death of all the Harry Potter films. And a scene was added into the film that was not in the book, where Ron and Hermione enter the Chamber of Secrets to destroy the cup. This was a great addition, as they actually show you destroying the Horcrux, like I said, rather than tell you. And having Ron and Hermione kiss in the Chamber of Secrets was a much better place. In the book, they just kiss in front of Harry after they've got rid of the cup, but the film did it better, as it's a much more private place for them to do it. And so Harry then breaks into the requirements after learning from Helena Ravenclaw that the diadem is there, and Draco and Goyle and Blaise attack Harry until Ron and Hermione arrive to chase them off. As soon as they got the Horcrux, they had to flee, as Goyle has gone completely batshit crazy and sets the whole bloody place on fire. To which Goyle falls and dies, but you don't really care because he was a dick. But Draco and Blaise survive, and the unthinkable happens. Harry actually saves Draco, which is a very heroic thing. Yeah, in these last few movies, I love how Draco has redeemed himself, and at the end you go, yeah, maybe Draco wasn't so bad after all. And so, yeah, Harry learns that Nagini is the last Horcrux, and if they find Voldemort, they find Nagini and they end this. To which they hear Voldemort talking to Snape about how the wand won't work, the Elder Wand won't work for him as long as Snape's alive, so he murders Snape by slitting his throat and ordering Nagini to finish him off. Now, the death of Snape was something I was very wary about. If the death of Snape isn't executed right, then that would be a major flaw. But thankfully, it was perfectly done. I cried when you have your mother's eyes. So Harry takes Snape to the Poltergeist and he finds the shocking truth. Yeah, that's one great thing about this movie. It answers all the unanswered questions of the previous films. We actually know why Snape was so miserable, because he loved Harry's mother, Lily, and he was devastated when she chose Harry's father over him. And so Snape is protecting Harry through to honour Lily. And of course, we know it was Snape's Patronus that led Harry to the Sword of Gryffindor. We know that Dumbledore ordered Snape to murder him, and Harry is the last Horcrux, and he must surrender to Voldemort to die. To which he says goodbye to Ron, Hermione, his parents, Remus and Sirius. Harry actually lets Voldemort kill him. Then we get this very surreal, strange, and yet beautifully filmed scene where Harry wakes up in limbo in ghostly King's Cross with Dumbledore, and Dumbledore praises Harry for being such a brave man and says, you have a choice, you can either stay here or go back and finish Voldemort properly, to which Harry chooses to live. Harry pretends to be dead. Voldemort goes back to Hogwarts and he's like, Harry Potter is dead, I've won, now you will surrender yourself to me or you will die. So which Neville bravely stands forward, and this was one of Neville's great characters I was talking about. He gives an Aragorn Return the King like speech like, Harry didn't die in vain, but you will. Pulls out the sword, to which Harry reveals to everyone that he's alive, and you get up and cheering. And so Harry and Voldemort have one epic final duel, and it's awesome. It's much better duel in the movie than it was in the book. It was so unsatisfying in the book. It was only one spell, but thankfully it's a lot longer in the movie. It's like 10 minutes long. And Molly Weasley, of course, kills Bellatrix, where she says the classic line, not my daughter, you bitch. And, of course, Neville slaughters Nagini with the Sword of Gryffindor, and that is Neville's best character moment. Neville, you are officially the hero of Harry Potter. And those parts of the final battle are rushed, but the main focus is where it should be, on Harry and Voldemort. And after the battle is won, Harry then reveals that the wand did not answer to Voldemort because the wand answers to him. And he actually snaps the Elder Wand, and you're like, what the hell, Harry? You could have used the wand to rebuild the damaged castle before you just destroyed it, but oh well. Then we cut to 19 years later. Now, I was a little disappointed that we didn't get the amount of closure that we needed with all the characters. They just skipped to 19 years later, but oh well, it's still a brilliant ending where Harry, Ginny, Ron and Hermione grown up, have children of their own, and they wave goodbye, watching their children let them have their adventures at Hogwarts. One little gripe with this film, the 3D conversion was just terrible. Definitely as in 2 films, it was a perfect decision, with part 1 being the setup, part 2 being the big payoff. I applaud that Gringotts was kept to a minimum, and most of the film was the Battle of Hogwarts, which I love because I'm a big fan of action, yet they never go overboard with the action. They always focus They keep the emotion the main centre. And of course, the score by Alexander Desplat was absolutely incredible. How the hell did this soundtrack not win Best Original Score? Harry Potter fans demand the Academy win something. David Yates proved he's one of the most underrated directors in Hollywood, as he ends the Harry Potter franchise in the best way possible, out on a perfect note with a bang rather than a whim. Other than some characters not getting a death scene, the lack of closure and the 3D conversion, this movie is all around perfect, and the perfect way to end the Harry Potter franchise. I give Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2 5 stars out of 5. We've actually completed the Harry Potter movies. Please leave a comment. Thank you all for watching. Subscribe to my channel and I'll see you next time.